Welcome to the Build with Boundaries podcast. My name is Manaz, and this podcast is for mums who want to carve out time so that you can work in ways that work for you, your life, your family, and of course your business. Together, we will discover why you are not prioritizing your business and the actions that you can take so you can live an intentional, productive, and fulfilled life without mum guilt. So let's dive in to today's episode. Welcome to the Build with Boundaries podcast. I have a special guest today, and I have Brigitte Bojkowszky. She is the visionary founder of Bridget Brands and a distinguished global and personal brand identity strategist. She has a remarkable career spanning over 23 years of teaching global marketing management and branding at universities across the globe, and extensive experience in the corporate world too. She possesses a treasure trove of knowledge and expertise. So she's a sought-after authority who guides entrepreneurs and organizations towards their brand's radiant future. Now, her mission is to craft captivating brand identities that radiate beauty, brilliance, and authenticity, ultimately attracting the clients and recognition that her clients truly deserve. Now, Bridget is the host of Brands Talk, which is her podcast for brand enthusiasts. So let me welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for being here. It was such an exciting conversation to take place. So thank you for coming, and welcome, Bridget.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here, Manas, with you today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a complete pleasure as well. It's such a great topic we have. So we are bridging the gap and navigating the path to your future self while respecting the present. Now, first, let's go to Bridget Brands and the story behind your mission that Bridget Brands is. What's inspired you to become a personal brand identity strategist?
Okay, that's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. My life was not a conventional journey. I went really unconventional, and I started as a flight attendant. I was traveling the world, and that was beautiful. But after a while, I was not really intellectually challenged. And then I started studying, so I became a student. And then after student, I actually wanted to go back to the airline industry, but there was a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on. So they were rather downsizing, rather firing than hiring people. So there was no way of going back. And then I went into other industries, worked with other companies. And then I went back to school. I did my PhD in international marketing and management and business. Continued to be my educational element, because my master's was studying business education and international marketing and management. And then I did my PhD on top of that in international marketing and management. Yeah, and then I continued teaching for one school year in the United States. I came back to Austria because I wanted to come back here and continue my journey here. And I've worked with other international companies in the airline industry, in the food industry, in the entertainment industry, and then lastly but not least in the real estate sector, where I was asked to build up the research department, but then the financial crisis came and we went bankrupt from one day to the other day. And I started teaching at the university already as a sideline. And then they asked me, hey, do you want to take on more teaching assignments? And I said, yes, that would be fantastic. So I had a temporary contract until the end of 2020, until the end of February 2020. And then, what happened? COVID rolled in. And I also knew that one day I will start my own business. That was my dream. It's what I always wanted. And then I was ready, but not really ready, because what happened then, everything I did before did not really make me ready for the next steps, because I had to pivot. I couldn't just walk into companies and do workshops because it was not possible. So I had to shift my focus and everything towards online, right? So that's how I started my business, and how I came about an brand identity strategist. So with my history and all the different steps that now in retrospect make sense, yeah, being a flight attendant, and here really hosting people, creating exceptional experiences for passengers, and making them feel safe even though they are in the air, and making them feel comfortable and welcome, and build relationships, because sometimes you have business class passengers, they go back and forth to Miami, to New York, to Bangkok, and you have them like several times on board, right? And also learning about different cultures and mentalities. That's who I am. I'm a global person. So that helped me to integrate that into my life now. And as a student, it's never too late to start studying, right? So and you never stop learning, never. Whatever you do, whatever setback that is, it's even a harder learning, but it's a learning and an opportunity. That's what I learned. And also that the corporate life is not really my life. And what I did when I worked with corporations, I really took on this identity, being part of the whole thing. This is great. But I've sacrificed a lot of myself to fit in. And once the company then went bankrupt, where I was and where I built up the market research department, I totally lost my own identity. So for me, it's so important to really understand who you are as a person, building your personal brand identity, knowing who you are. And then when you do that, you know how you can create and how you can basically make a difference in other people's lives, because you are discerning, you are aware of your strengths and capabilities and why you are here for. So that was another learning and part of my journey that made me what I'm now today. And the time as a professor. So I've been teaching altogether over 23 years now at universities, and that's a long time. But the thing was that I was also here not really fitting in. I was an exotic person, because I'm coming from the industry. I lived a life in an industry, and teaching was always something, as a sideline, and teaching young people or executives as well, But I never saw myself as a long-term professor. I'm not just I'm not putting my focus on doing research and then teaching. For me, it was always educating people. And fitting into this traditional system was like going away from my core. I was really molding myself into an identity which was not me. So I became very unhappy, and I stayed because I thought, okay, I should be thankful for what I have and not ask for more. That's what I was conditioned. And then once my contract terminated, I knew, okay, now it's the universe that is speaking. I'm getting thrown out into cold water, and now you have to swim yourself in the middle of the ocean. And I figured it out, and there's always a way to figure it out. And I think when you are unhappy with a situation and you're not aware, or you're just pushing it away, you don't want to see it, you deny it, because you feel still, if you're unhappy, but it's comfortable because you get your monthly paycheck. Yeah, but if it's not you, then you're getting pushed if you're not doing or taking action yourself. So things are happening for you. And that's me in a nutshell, going through all these different stages.
Oh my goodness, what a journey. And so much there, and so much that we can all resonate with. We do put ourselves into that mold, and almost like, like you said, that we are fitting into something else. And I think that's amazing that, you were able to change that into, well, what do I want to do, and what is what is my values and my kind of mission and what I want to do.
Yeah, this is, you really have to own it. You have to step into your power. And that means being courageous, being bold, and not doing what others want from you, what others say you have to do. We are grown-ups and we can decide for ourselves.
Yes.
And I decided to walk that path of entrepreneurship. It's a roller coaster ride. It's difficult, but it's the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. And that's what I'm helping others to now, understanding what it means, and that from a holistic branding perspective. And that's where I'm coming from, to helping others to walk that path, because that's my expertise. That's where I'm coming from global brands, from branding strategies, going international. I've taught that for 23 years. That includes consumer behavior, that consumes strategic management, but also brand management and building brand identities. And that's where my focus is.
Absolutely. So let's talk about branding then. So what is your perspective on where does branding start?
Yeah, branding starts with mindset. Yeah. So I have come up with a 3-step entrepreneurial branding blueprint. It's a process. The whole entrepreneurship branding thing, and it doesn't stop, it evolves with you over time, and it's something that you always have to be aware of. So branding again starts with having the mindset, beginning with cultivating the right mindset. Your entrepreneurial journey starts with a clear and positive mindset. I'm saying it that often because it's so important. Yeah, you need to acknowledge any limiting beliefs that are holding you back, and work on transforming them into this empowering beliefs that align with your vision, and it takes us to the vision, to the future. You need to know where you want to be in the future, what legacy you want to leave behind. You develop a compelling vision for your brand. You visualize where your business should be in 3, in 5, in 10, in 20 years time. Yeah. So a well-defined vision acts as your guiding light. It's steering your brain towards that destination. And you also have to have a mission, because it's helping you to get there. It reflects your purpose and the impact that you want to make, right? So that needs to resonate surely with your vision, but also with the values that inspire you. So clearly defined core values, they serve as this foundation upon you build your personal or your brand identity, right? So that also ensures that every aspect of your business aligns then with that values, because it's really the foundation. And then the next step would be to build your personal brand identity. Behind every business, behind every entrepreneur, there is a personal brand, because it's you, it's the face of your company that shines through the business, right? So you dive really deep into who you want to be as an entrepreneur. It's your skills, your expertise, your personality, and the unique qualities that set you apart from everything else that defines you, right? So you're going on a discovery mission, on a journey of self-discovery. It might take longer than you think, but it really drives you what your brand role is, your standard, your style, and which reflects your authenticity. And that's also important, because once you know who you are, you can live this authentic life, right? And then last but not least, the third step of this whole process is the company brand identity. That's what you also build, right? So your personal brand then is integrated in that company brand identity that aligns with the personal brand. But you are the core. You are the first thing that you need to understand who you are, and then what kind of products you are going to offer. And part of this brand identity is, of course, how you express it. It includes designing the logo, selecting their colors, your name, crafting all your visuals, everything, all these brand elements that create your brand identity. It involves understanding and defining your ideal customer, who is, let's say, an avatar, who stands for those people that you want to serve, those needs you understand, their preferences, their pain points, everything that they desire. And that can be different across different country markets, across different subcultures, right? So, and then you also tailor your messaging accordingly. And then the positioning, how you position yourself across the markets, and also what sets you apart from the competition, who is out there, right? So what is that makes you unique? And so this 3-step entrepreneurial branding blueprint will bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, what you want to become in the future. Yeah? And that resonates with your ideal clients as well. So you want to become a compelling brand identity that customers, that stakeholders, that your employees resonate with, who want to work with you, and those who want to eventually purchase from you, right?
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, such a great perspective on that whole piece. It's like, all the different stages. And ultimately, I think a lot of people can find it quite difficult to think that they have a brand in the first place. But, that personal brand and the way you explain it, it is all part of us. And whether we take ownership of it or not, I guess, is maybe the question and what we can do with it. So what practical strategies could you share with entrepreneurs who are looking to bridge that gap and to enhance their brand identity, so that ultimately the whole point is they want to be able to attract the right clients? So how can they do that?
I think that's what I've already mentioned before, that you really need to emphasize that branding starts with mindset, that the strategy is really to make sure that you shift into the perspective of a business owner's mindset. And that includes vision, mission, purpose, and values. So really being mindful of your brand, that is the foundation of building a powerful and authentic personal but also company identity. Yeah. And then having this clear vision, mission, and the values that I've talked about. Yeah. So I think that's where it all starts, and that's a stepwise approach, and that's what you need to go through. And then deeply go into this self-reflection and deeply understand, okay, what kind of role am I playing during the days as a person? Because your personal brand as a business owner might be a little, or has a different focus than the personal brand as a private person, as a mom or as a wife, or as whatever you're doing. So how do you align that? What is the common denominator that everyone who is in touch with you, that is part of your environment, that they resonate and they see you pretty much in the same way, but with different, let's say, as a business owner, you might act a little differently, but the core of your human being, of your character, should stay the same. And that, I think, that is important in the personal branding work. And then as a company, it's really taking that, what makes you authentic as a person, and putting that into the brand elements that resonate with the people who want to buy with you, your clients, who want to work for you as employees. So I think that's how you need to bring it together.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I think that can be quite hard to sometimes see yourself because you just do those things automatically.
Yeah,
It's almost like
yeah,
it's like you
yeah.
said, it's inherent, it's part of you.
Yeah, and I once I just recently I had a client, and it was about revamping and getting to the core of her business. She has had her business for more than 35 years, and she said, "Okay, let's go to the core of the whole thing." And then she discovered a lot of things that she knew, but it was not brought to
Right.
consciousness. She was not really aware of
Yes.
it, and now she's living it with so much more, even more choice, because there is so much understanding
Mm,
behind. She went to the root cause, and also when it comes to her employees. To share that with them, and to understand what value they bring into the business.
yeah.
It's just beautiful how
Mm,
much stronger their shared values became, and
yeah.
what they are striving for, and what they want, how they want to serve their clients. It
Yes.
was just beautiful to see that.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's why this reflection, understanding who you are, I know it's a lot of work, and it's, sometimes, I need some rest, or you start crying because you finally, it's very emotional, but you need to go through that,
yeah.
because if you're not going through that, you will never be an authentic business owner.
Mm,
And also in
yeah.
your private life, it's something is missing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have a mask on. We don't want to run around with masks. We don't want to
Yes.
be together with people who have a mask on, who are playing a role that they unconsciously consciously play, because behind they really don't know their true self.
Mm,
And it's difficult, it's stressful, it's exhausting to play a role, but when you are really rooted
it's
in who
true.
you are, truly are, then life becomes so much more easier.
Hmm. It just flows more naturally, doesn't it? That sounds
Exactly.
amazing. So, in on this obviously podcast, as you know, it's mums in business, so they're
Yeah.
managing dual roles here. And what tips can you share where they can manage both of these roles effectively whilst building their brand? Because they have to keep that top of mind as being a mum and a business owner. So what tips could you share on that?
Okay, playing dual roles is always difficult, but I think there are three things that I would like to mention: is to prioritize, and it comes back to the name of your podcast, set boundaries. Yeah, it's one of the most crucial aspects of managing, is really setting these priorities and these boundaries, and understanding that both of your roles as a mom
Yeah,
and your role as a business owner are important, right? So they are equally important, but they may require these different levels of attention at different times. And that's why we all sometimes perceive differently, but at the core is our being as a
yeah,
personal brand, right? So allocating specific time blocks for each role and sticking to them as close as possible is important. Yeah? And communicating them with the family and with the team. Because if you're not doing that, you're getting into this chaos of context switching, and you lose a lot of time, because you're focusing here, you're focusing there, but until you get into the focus, you're losing a lot of time. So you're wasting time that you actually could be more efficiently using,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then leveraging technology and delegating whatever is possible. I know delegating at the beginning, if you are like lacking in money and finances, is difficult, but maybe there are ways. Yeah. Embrace technology, figure it out. It helps you streamlining your business. Use productivity tools. Use Asana, for example. I like to use Asana for with working with others. It's a simple tool. It's even for free. There's a free version that we can use, scheduling apps and so on. Then self-care and self-compassion. I think we can only be compassionate if we are compassionate to ourselves. Then we
yeah,
can be compassionate to others, right? So taking care of yourself is not a luxury, because people kind of define it like that. It's a necessity. Yeah. As a mom and as a business owner, you are juggling multiple responsibilities, and it can be mentally and emotionally exhausting, taxing, and all of that. Yeah. Prioritize self-care practices, like try to exercise, maybe take time for meditation, a few moments of quiet reflection. Practice self-compassion, understand that it's okay also to ask for help when needed. Very often we don't do that,
Yeah.
right? Recognize that also perfection is not the goal here. There needs to be a balance and a well-being. And there is this 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, right? So it specifies is that 80% of outcomes and consequences come from this 20% of the causes. So it's actually an idea that 20% of the effect of the cause or the input, however you want to call it, leads to this 80%, yeah, of the result and of the output. We don't need to be perfect. Yeah. To be really aiming to be perfect is procrastination. You're kind of pushing something away, and it's kind of finding apologies why we are not doing what we need to do. Yeah. And these three things also have really an impact on your personal brand. So you can ensure that your personal brand is distinctive and unique. Because when you set these clear boundaries and have these priorities, you allow to focus on what truly sets you apart. Yeah, what is distinctive and unique. So your personal brand should reflect your unique qualities and the experiences and the values that you live by and bring to the world. Yeah. So, and especially when you want to excel in both of your roles as a mom and as a business owner, right? And then when you're leveraging technology and you're delegating, that makes you relevant. It keeps you up to date in your industry as well. We forget about that, right? So a relevant personal brand, business brand, is one that adapts to these changes, to the changing circumstances, and you stay connected, yeah, and you evolve over time, and you evolve with the needs that your clients or your target audience has, because you understand them, right? And then there's three more I would like to mention is the consistency and the reliability. Consistency is important because you have these dual roles, and when you're consistent and reliable, then you are perceived as that as well. That makes you relevant, that makes you stick out, because you're keeping word, you're coming from a place of integrity. Yeah, because when people can depend on you as a mom, but also in the role as a business owner, that builds trust. Yeah, then you are making a difference in people's lives, because when you're a strong personal brand, you find the balance and success, yeah, in these dual roles. Yeah, it makes it interesting for people to connect with you. All right, and because they see that there is a positive influence coming from your side, there is power, yeah, coming from your side, and this inspires others. And then last but not least, authenticity, because it's the cornerstone of a strong personal brand, and I think that also attracts an audience. Yeah, so you shall incorporate all these aspects I've just mentioned, because it strengthens you and it helps you juggling both roles.
Yeah, amazing. What great advice there. I love how you've explained that all. It really is that holistic view of branding and bringing that into your day, rather than it being something that you do one day. It's part of you. And like you said, the mission, your values, really digging deep into that and figuring out where you lie, your USP, and what that is, and what being authentic actually means to you in your business and in everything that you do, because you're doing that no matter what anyway. So I'd love to ask you, what does building your business with boundaries mean to you, Bridget?
Oh, wow. I think there is a lot of meaning in that. Um, I think the most important ones, let's start with, it's about time. I think time is a crucial aspect. So first of all, setting limits on working hours. So establish clear work hours and resisting the urge to overwork.
Yeah.
This is another key. No, today I'm done. That can wait until tomorrow. It means also setting priorities, right? So, because you need to ensure a healthy work-life balance. And the time management when you work or when you are a mom. Yeah, so effectively managing the time, prioritizing tasks, what has to be done now, what can wait if it needs to wait. Yeah. And that also helps to avoid procrastination, because you have set your time, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you do it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like Mel Robbins says, right? And then managing personal time. So that also means personal time when you have with your family, but also the personal time for yourself, for self-care, and then for relaxation. That really prevents you from burning out and maintaining this overall well-being. So for me, as a business owner, it's like I reserve time for me in the mornings. I'm not having anything unless it's like there is a time change with in Singapore or Bangkok or somewhere else. No, the mornings are mine, period. Yeah. And then I think there's some others. Managing the boundaries with clients. You need to clearly define the scope of work and the expectations up front with your client, because then you can avoid the scope creep and this and that, and okay, let's do this, and we can do the LinkedIn profile. Okay, we incorporate that as well. No, what have we agreed on up front? So there needs to be clear project boundaries. And then the financial boundaries also come in, right? Setting your budget, your financial goals, because you want to ensure sustainable growth and profitability, and then also balancing the growth here. Yeah. I think it's good to avoid this rapid expansion, because you only can do so much.
Yeah.
And you need to grow with it. It's a personal development as well. And then also, and this is one of the most important things when it comes to brand identity and protecting your brand identity as a person, but also business owner. Safeguard your reputation by selecting your partnerships, your collaborations, your endorsements, and those that are aligned with your values. Yeah, don't stretch, don't go beyond. Because, co-branding happens easily. You are doing a show, you're doing this or doing that, and then you're mentioned, then your name might be mentioned with someone you don't want to be mentioned with in the long run. Yeah, so check it out up front. Also making these ethical decisions. So there's also boundaries when you want to work with others that could harm your business reputation or your integrity. Yeah, it's others' business styles, others' communication styles, competitors, especially when it comes also to across different country markets, for example. Yeah, so be really very thoughtful about that and make meaningful decisions. And also when it comes to hiring, whom are you hiring, right? Be selective when you are hiring. Find those individuals who align with your corporate, company, personal values, that go aligned with your culture, who embrace your culture, who understand your goals. And then I think you can also set boundaries when it comes to the technical part. And you as a mathematician, you know that. The technical part is protecting intellectual property. That also needs to be taken into consideration. It's coming from the technical side. Yeah. So I think when you do that, then that contributes to long-term success. And
absolutely. Amazing. What great advice there. I loved all of it. Just, it makes complete sense, right? But when you're caught in the thing, it's often things that you're not thinking about. So thank you for the reminder, and I hope this has been helpful for anybody listening. So how can listeners start to begin to be more mindful of their brand?
Again, mindful means having the right mindset, do the self-discovery mission, really go very deep. You cannot take shortcuts when it comes to brand building. If the mindset is not there and you start with the logo and with the name and with all the colors, it will not work. If the mindset is not clearly incorporated, you have to live and breathe this entrepreneurship life and understanding yourself, who you are, whom you want to serve, and everything goes from there. Because then you're doing double work. You have so much. It's so much effort you put into if you start at the end with company branding, if you have not thought about all the steps prior to that. So I think that is crucial. Yeah, that is crucial.
Fantastic. Yeah. So how can listeners get to find out more about you? Where can they find you? Please share your details.
Okay. I think you also have the link to a checklist on mine, as I have several freebies, and one of them is a checklist that guides entrepreneurs strategically and intentionally to build their brand. As an entrepreneur, it helps them with the decision making on the entrepreneurial journey. It gives them clarity and also I think the courage. It's nudging them to start, because when we have the clarity, it's easier to walk a path, right? And then that's one of my freebies. I have a website, bridgetbrands.com, and everyone can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very proactive on LinkedIn. That's where they can find me. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, Bridget. It's been such a wonderful conversation, building our personal brand, part of us, and you've explained it so well. I think we all have things that we can work on, and definitely have a listen again to this podcast if there's more things that you can take from it. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Stop going nuts trying to focus on multiple things and achieving nothing. Have you ever felt like the filling in a sandwich, squeezed, stressed, surrounded by pressure, unable to prioritize your business dreams? Now, if you feel overwhelmed and torn between building your business and caring for your loved ones, then your business dreams do not have to come last. I've put together an overwhelm-free weekly action plan for busy business mums. You are simply one action away from a whole new perspective. This is where it all begins to start creating a snowball effect. All you need to do is download my weekly action plan, and the link will be in the comments or the podcast description.